What is going on, guys? Doing a red day recap today. Right, so as much as most successful traders would rather throw more light, including myself, right, more into wins than losses, do not deceive yourself in trading. There are actually days where you're going to take losses. No cap, right? You cannot escape losses in this trading game, right? So sometimes, no matter how much you wait for a confluence, no matter how solid your trading setup is, sometimes it can literally go against you, and then you have literally no control over it, right? But what matters most is that if you're employing proper risk management, then you're not literally going to feel that pain that much, right? Everybody has got their own taste when it comes to risk tolerance, right? Some people, they're up for risk. They don't mind risking 5% in the market per single trade, 20%, sometimes even 30% per single trade. But I believe that for your long-term success in this market, then you got to follow that proper risk management, which is risking between 1% and 2% per any single trade. Yeah, so I actually took a loss, which is a little bit disappointing looking at the fact that it's actually the beginning of the month, right? The month of July. At the same time, it also comes at the back of the video which I posted, which says that why I hardly take a loss on the forex market. Perhaps the forex gods wanted to humble me a little bit to know that indeed, as much as I can be consistently profitable, there are down days in the market, right? So yeah, these days what I plan on doing is that I'm not only going to throw more light on my wins, but I'm also going to be shooting YouTube videos and breaking down my losses so that we can have a recap, an idea, thinking into my thought process as to how I took the trade, as to how I came by those setup, and then how I managed my losses, and then perhaps how things are going. So I'm not only going to be throwing more light into the wins and coming here and saying that yeah, I took 5 trades and then they were all wins. I'm also going to show the down days where I maybe take 3 trades, 4 trades, or 5 trades, and then perhaps it also goes into drawdown. Also, one culture that I would like to build when it comes to the trading environment, right, or the trading community, is that there is no shame in taking losses, right? Sometimes people are afraid to show their losses. People are scared to show their losses. They think that once they show their losses, it typically means that they are failures. It doesn't mean that at all, right? This industry, you cannot escape the down days or you cannot escape the red days. No matter how perfect your strategy is, definitely you're going to take a loss one way or the other, right? So you have to take losses generally as the cost of doing business with the market. Just like in any other business, whether you're selling clothes, whether you're selling food stuff, whether you're selling equipment, there are definitely days where you're going to literally run at a loss, right? Every business has a loss. No business is going to continuously run profitably for the rest of their business cycle. No matter what, there are always that down days, that little period in time where they take a little bit of losses. It's the same thing here in trading as well. No matter how perfect your strategy is, there are certain times where you literally take a loss, and then you got to embrace it and then learn from that mistake, recap your losses, and then see how better you can do from there. But at the same time, do not forget that, like I said, managing that risk is the only thing that can sustain you for a long time in this business. So let's go right into the chart. I'll break down the currency pairs that I took and the ones that didn't go really in my favor, and then why I took those losses, and then how I intend to manage those losses going forward. Yeah, guys, so with respect to the market, I showed you guys my insight into what setup I was looking out for this week, which had to do with most of the antipodian dollars, looking into Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, and then some USD pairs, right? The first position that I was kind of looking really into was USD CAD, right? So I broke down that pair with you guys, and then the confluence for this setup for USD CAD was more like me anticipating this kind of retracement that was going on here. So I saw this move right here from that 1.2460 area like a swing point, right? And then I saw this move that moved in the opposite direction out here like the retracement, right? So after we had a series of consolidation around this area, I kind of perceived that perhaps this market may be using this point as a retracement area for continuation downwards, right? And it was very easy for me to think about this market this way, looking at the fact that I was also looking into the DXY and then comparing how the market was moving. So typically, this was how I saw it, right? Perhaps I realized that we were consolidating around the 61.8 retracement area. I saw certain confirmations there, which gave me the indication that this market could potentially go bearish. So yeah, I didn't hesitate taking the trade, right? As a trader, once you do your analysis and then you have all the confirmation indicating that a trade is going to work out, do not hesitate to pull the trigger. So I did pull the trigger, anticipating that perhaps we could go lower, perhaps up to this 1.2250 area, right, which would have been a very good risk to reward, looking at the fact that it would have been around 1:4.4, right? So making about 4.4% in a day or in a week if you took a 1% risk. And for me, for instance, personally, I like to risk 2%, right? So if 2%, then I would have been looking at perhaps 9% on a single trade. So yeah, this trade dipped a little bit in profit for me, right? making me make at least about 30 pips. I booked profit on some of my accounts, and some of the other accounts I literally did not even book profit, leaving the trade to run, and then it literally pulled back in the opposite direction against me. So yeah, we took a full loss on USD CAD on some of my accounts as well. Now the second one that I was looking at, right, was AUD USD. And this currency pair, I told you guys that I was looking at it with confluence with the DXY, closely in confluence with the DXY. Like I told you, last 3 weeks, right? For last 3 weeks, we had like this push here on the downside, and then I considered here as a retracement, and then perhaps this move right here as a continuation. But hitting on this support area and then the market consolidating there for a while, then I kind of anticipated that we could perhaps push on the upside, right, where a buy trade would have been very legit. So I was targeting this for a buy trade. Nonetheless, I wasn't targeting it blindly. I was looking at it in confluence with the DXY. So when I switched close to the DXY, you can see what we had, some sort of an opposite pattern to this, right? So with the AUD USD, you saw a bearish continuation, a pullback, and a bearish continuation as well. For this, we had what, a bullish continuation, a pullback, and a bullish continuation as well, hitting this very resistance area and then started consolidating, right? So as I was looking at AUD USD consolidating around that area, the XY was also consolidating around this area, and I saw certain reversal patterns that kind of gave me the indication that we could perhaps go bearish on this one. So that was a confluence that made me jump into AUD USD trade, right? Also, we had what, that kind of a bullish engulfing right here, right? That was really at the back of that candle that I took this trade. So it looked extremely legit that we could push up a little bit more from here, right? Looking at the fact that we had like a strong bullish closure around here, right? So every trader that trades candlestick patterns would literally fall for this setup, right? It looked very sumptuous, very, very legit to go long here, and then perhaps maybe target these highs being visited again. Yeah, so what happened? Literally the market what deceived all of us, took us out. And like I said, it's only 2%, so who really cares about that anyway? Even though it's sometimes a little bit painful, looking at the fact that it's only the beginning of the month, right? And then now going into the recap for New Zealand USD as well, it also kind of had like a similar confluence to what was going on in Aussie dollar USD. Only for the fact that for New Zealand USD, I kind of saw the initial move which happened like last week, right, as the initial swing point. And then I saw this move which happened early on this week as a retracement, and then perhaps I was looking into continuation on the upside. I saw it as a retracement purposely because of the fact that when I put my Fibonacci from this point A or to point B here, we kind of saw a long consolidation that was going on around the 0.6980 region, right? And then we had several reversal patterns that kind of gave us the indication that this market had the possibility of pushing up on the upside. So this is how you're going to see it as well. If I use the replay tool, then it kind of looks like really legit for the fact that, yeah, we had this bullish engulfing candle as well around that area, and then the market was literally pushing up. I didn't take this trade specifically after the bullish engulfing, though I took this trade within this wick area for the fact that I had certain confirmation that I was also looking at, right? So my entry was exactly on 0.6987, right? So I also made a little bit of pips on the upside when this bullish candle formed right here, which was about 18 pips, right? Now nonetheless, like I told you guys, I didn't put stop loss at break even yet. And then just when the next candle came out, it just went into the opposite direction and literally took me out. So that's how I said that no matter how confident you are, right, no matter how legit your setup is, no matter how patient you are, sometimes the market can literally go against you, and then you have literally no control over it, right? So as a trader, the only thing you can control is the risk management aspect, right? So regardless of the losses, I've not literally abandoned these setups. I'm still looking at them closely, right? With the way I trade, if I take a loss in a particular region, it only precipitates the market going into another region that can provide a solid setup again, right? So I'm still monitoring this. Perhaps we are playing around the third touch of the trend line, which is here, or perhaps we could drip a little bit more coming into this resistance area. That is for New Zealand USD. If I see any confirmation that gives me the indication that we're going to go up again, I wouldn't hesitate jumping in again, because literally it is 1% or 2% me risking in the market. And then if this trade actually plays out, that is where I'm going to make my losses back, and then even more profit, right? That has to do with having a strong psychology. Most people do not really have that strong psychology. Once they take a trade and then it goes against them and then they take a loss, they do not necessarily do a follow-up in that setup. They literally abandon it and then go and look into other trade. But the psychology here is that once you took a loss, revisit it, revise the setup, look into how the market is playing out, and perhaps if it gives you a second chance, you're going to take it, and then chances are the second opportunity where the market gives you, it will actually go in your favor than not. So yeah, that is my outlook for New Zealand USD. My outlook for Aussie dollar USD also maintains the same position, right? Still looking into this area right here. I can foresee this one being a little bit of manipulation, looking into the fact that most people trade that candlestick pattern, right, which is the bullish engulfing. So I see this as the market literally taking out a lot of people that were looking to go long here, because the market kind of saw that what this area right here is a very sumptuous support area, which is very clear, right? Looking at the fact that most people would like to go long, and then literally what took out all others that were going long initially at this region. But like I said, with that strong mentality of a follow through, I am still keeping my eyes very close on Aussie dollar USD, and once I have any chance of going long again on this, I wouldn't hesitate to pull the trigger. The same has to do with USD CAD as well, right? So for USD CAD, like I told you, use that retracement insight into taking this trade, but I kind of see it pushing a little bit further from where I took the trade. So I would be interested in seeing USD CAD. Also, you can see it's also playing around the 30 trend line, but at the same time, I also like to see it push a little bit into this resistance area. So more like this area right here, which is the resistance plus the third touch of the trend line, is giving me that confidence that perhaps maybe this one was me getting in too early on the market, but we could potentially push down from any of these regions, either on the third touch of the trend line or perhaps around this resistance area. Once I find that setup legit and I have all my confirmations aligning, I wouldn't hesitate jumping in onto this trade again. So yeah, I hope this video inspires you. I hope this video also enlightens you for the fact that in trading, it's not always a win-win-win-win scenario. There are certain days where literally you're going to take a loss, no matter how legit, patient, solid your setup is, and then you got to embrace it, right? The only thing that is going to keep you in the game for a long time is applying proper risk management, risking 1%, 2%, not more than 2% per any single trade, right? Yeah, I also understand the fact that as an individual who has less capital in the market, right, let's say you have $500, $200, risking that 1%, 2% may not necessarily make you any reasonable profit to be able to live by. So sometimes you want to go a little bit hard, right? But I believe that if you focus on the skill set, building that consistency, right, you're going to attract huge capitals, and then you're going to be able to grow from there, rather than trying to become a millionaire from your $100, and so you want to stack on 50%, 100%. Chances of failure is very high, right? So I believe you guys like this video. You know what to do. Like this video, share with your friends, subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Also make sure to follow me on all social media at KOJOFOREX, especially on Instagram. If you haven't joined the community, click on the link in the description to join the KOJOFOREX Telegram community. I've been sharing some of these trades that I take, and most often than not, you can guarantee that we win a lot of these trades than even taking these few losses that comes by once in a while. Yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next video.